The following program contains scenes that some viewers may find disturbing. Viewer discretion is advised. Moments with Mo, brought to you by Zenith Bank and GE.
For a long time, most Nigerians had no concept of terrorism. For many, it was a problem of people in faraway climes or the product of a filmmaker's imagination. But this changed in 2009 when activities took a violent turn. Tonight at Moments with Mo, we take a look at the consequences of the insurgency.
Very serious topic tonight.
Yeah. I'm trying to think about my first thoughts of terrorism. And I think from as far back as I can remember was 9/11. The attack was on the Twin Towers in New York. Was that in 2001?
It was 2001.
2001.
Yeah.
And I remember sitting, I don't know, I remember walking down the stairs and my brother was like, oh my goodness. And he was just watching the news and I was sitting on the steps. And it was like watching, you know, we just said in the intro, it was like watching a movie. And when you think that it was deliberate, because at first people thought it was a mistake, you know, the plane got out of hand and hit the tower, one of the towers. But when we found out that it was actually deliberate, I think that was what was so shocking and so scary, because those people there were just going to work like they do every day, and who knew what would happen.
Yeah, I mean, it's unfortunate that we are dealing with issues of terror all over the world. I mean, not just here in Nigeria, but so many different parts, also different parts of Africa. I know Kenya has had issues of terror inflicted on them before. And, you know, I remember in school, we learned a lot about terror. We learned about the tactic of terror in using fear to take captive people, and in using fear. Basically, it's that you are inflicting terror against people who have no defense. It's not a mutual combat. It is, they're powerless, they're everyday civilians, and you're terrorizing them. And it's really, really disheartening, I think, for all of us to see it happening. It's so widespread all over the world. Yeah.
Well, now that it seems, I mean, you mentioned that it's a worldwide problem. It seems more widespread, and it seems that something that you see on the news regularly, unfortunately. Do you feel that certain people take it lightly at all?
You know, I definitely think so. I've seen on numerous occasions when an incident happens, people will start making jokes about it. I mean, I remember people making jokes about it in so many different situations I've been in, and I think it's a human coping mechanism. I think that when we're scared, and also when something becomes normalized, because unfortunately I think
people get desensitized when you're so used to seeing it on the news.
But at the same time, the reason that happens is when something is not that close to home.
I was going to say, when you feel it's far away, and God forbid when it happens in your vicinity or it happens to someone you know, then I guess people will not really consider it as a, will not see it in such a light-hearted way. But I do agree, I do think for some people it is a coping mechanism.
Yeah, but it's not a smart coping mechanism.
Because if you have to, I understand. You know, but the thing is, if you really sit down and think about the reality of it, I mean,
in the news every day we hear that this X amount of people died, X amount of people died, and for me sometimes I know I fall. You know, I tend to do this. Sometimes I'll hear 10 people were killed, and because 10, for some reason, that number I don't understand. That's 10 lives. That's 10 people who had mothers, brothers, sisters. They're married. They were living, and now they're no longer living. It almost makes it seem like it's trivial, but it's because there's such a frequency of it happening. Yeah, definitely. You know? So when there's a frequency of it happening, after a while, you're just like, oh, okay, another one. Which that's not the way it should be. It's not right.
After the break, we meet a young man who witnessed an alleged terrorist attack.
So we saw lots of them, so we recognized them. So some were carrying machetes, some were carrying cutlasses, some were carrying swords, some were carrying rakes, hoes.
Dedicated to people, technology, service. Zenith Bank, in your best interest.
Welcome back. Just a few weeks ago, Stephen woke up to the sound of bomb explosions. He wrote an article on it for 360 Knobs and is here to recount the story. Stephen, you're very welcome.
Thank you very much.
How are you doing today?
I'm fine.
Okay. So, please, tell us what happened.
Okay, it was a Friday morning. I woke up from sleep and I didn't have anything to do immediately, so I just continued lying down on the bed. I was kind of a bit awake. I was a bit asleep. And then I had a gunshot at first. So I didn't really stir, I just stayed there because it happens from time to time. Like sometimes the soldiers shoot in the air for one reason or the other. And then I heard more, so I was not really sure. So I woke my roommate up and I was like, "Guy, did you hear that?" And he was like, I wanted to ask me what. They were like, there's like a burst of gunfire, so we both sprang up. So he has more experience than me in this matters because for like a whole year I was not in the city, I was not in Maiduguri. So he was just like, "Guy, throw your clothes on, do everything." I was just trying to collect my thoughts. And so he wore his clothes, and then it's like a flat, and we share a room with a lady that's married. She has some sisters there. Okay. They're much, but all of them are ladies. So they were ahead of us. They were already shouting, and behind our house is like, there are no houses behind our house. It's like a valley, a gully. It's like a river. Okay. There's only water in the river during the rainy season. During dry season, it's totally dry. So it seemed like people were coming from that side. I don't know which people. I didn't know whether it was people trying to escape or people trying to fight. So I was not really sure, but they were screaming. The ladies were screaming. So they ran out of the house and they were screaming everywhere. So my roommate, I was trying to think of, okay, what should I carry? Should I carry my iPad? Should I carry my phone? I was just trying to think of what to carry. And he was like, "Guy, just come. And he just ran out of the house. I was like, the only one in the house. So I just took my phone, took my headphones, and then I stepped out. So when I stepped out, it's a long compound. There are like about a lot of houses, like 10 houses. So I was walking towards the gate. I met him, and then some other students came out. Some of them are my very close friends. So we started thinking, like, what's happening? We did not know. There were still gunshots going on. We were still hearing gunshots, but we did not know from what direction. And then bombs started going off. We were just hearing the sounds. And when bombs go off, sometimes it just sounds like it's around you, like you're in the center.
Can't locate
so you
where
don't know
it
where
is.
to even go to. And for a very long time in the city, the university has been very safe. Nothing has ever happened there, really. So I was just thinking, Guy, if we could run into school, it would be really great. Okay, he actually mentioned that when we woke up. He was like, "Let's run into school." But I was like, it's probably a bad idea because we're trying to run into school. We have to cross this large space. I mean,
how far was your house from the school?
Not really far. If I'm taking a leisurely walk, from where I am, I can actually see the gate. I can see the fence, actually. If I'm taking a leisurely walk, it will be like 15 minutes. If I'm running, maybe a little bit under 5 minutes. But there's so much that could happen, like there's a main road and everything. So I was like, dude, you know what, let's just pray. Let's just be the first thing we do. So we prayed and told God to just direct us. So when we went to the gates now, we met other students. So everybody was confused. Some people were hysterical, some people were calm. Most of my friends were very calm. So we're thinking of what to do and everything. Our landlady came out and she was like, we should enter her house because her house is fenced even within the compound. But I was like, there's no use entering the house because if they're going to come, they'll still check all the houses. Let me assume that a group was coming to kill all of us one by one. They'll still check their house despite the fence. I mean, if our whole compound had a fence and they can get through that, they can get through there. So I was like, no, I'm cool. I'll just stay outside here. And then...
sorry, just cut you. In the midst of all this, you can hear gunshots. Did you see any soldiers running around?
No, we did not see because we were still inside the compound. We're still inside the compound. We could not really see outside. We could see just a little bit of the road, but I was not really paying attention to that. So I and my friends, so my roommates entered the house because she's auntie. She told them to come in, so they entered. So everybody was panicking. I did not know what to do. They were all there. So I just thought, hey, I was very calm. I really, when I prayed, I felt very okay. So I was like, hey, I haven't even brushed my teeth. So I walked back to my house. I brushed my teeth, took my time. Some people called.
And there's still gunshots going on?
Yeah, there were still gunshots. Like,
okay.
Some people were calling me. I was like, no, I'm okay, I'm fine, don't worry. Don't call me. This is not the time to be calling me. So I now went back, and some of them were like, where did you go? And they were very confused. And I was like, no, I just went to brush my teeth, I'm okay. They're like, they're scared, I should not do that again. I was like, I'm sorry. So we say, okay, let's check what's happening outside. So we now decided to step out. So when we stepped out, we saw like a huge, we saw lots and lots of people, about like, I don't know, like 1,000.
Wow.
But so I was wondering what was happening, but I recognized them. Okay, in Maiduguri there are these people called civilian GTF. GTF is the military. So the civilian GTF sprung up at a time when the whole crisis thing started going out of the city and started going to the villages. When you get things happen in the villages. So the youth now sprung up and decided to help in defending the city. So they carry all sorts of funny weapons and unfunny weapons, serious ones. So we saw lots of them, so we recognized them. So some were carrying machetes, some were carrying cutlasses, some were carrying swords, some were carrying rakes, hoes,
well,
everything.
Stephen, you know, we want to hear a lot more about this story, but we're going to take a quick break, and we will be right back after this.
Like they carried a school bus and then they climbed on top of it, all over it, and they were driving around in circles, shouting and scraping their weapons on the floor, trying to motivate themselves.
Dedicated to people, technology, service. Zenith Bank, in your best interest.
Welcome back. We are still here with our guest, Stephen, who's sharing his story with us. So we stopped you, when we left off, you mentioned that you were outside on the streets, there are 1,000 people, and you see the civilian joint task force, and they're carrying different weapons.
Yeah.
So what happened next?
So, well, when I stepped out, I was just listening to them talk, and they were talking about that some people came to attack the military barracks, and then there's a lot of fighting going on. Then they mentioned some areas in Maiduguri that's kind of close to where we are, and they said that's where the real fighting is going on. So we were just like getting like the fallout from the fight. So, and now I spoke to some of them. I spoke to one of them actually. So I was like, what's up, what's happening? We were speaking in Hausa. And then he was like, well, these people are trying to come into town. And I was like, okay, so what's going to happen now? It's like, they were like, if they're going to come in, they're going to come to the site. So they're ready for them, they're waiting for them. So they were trying to, you know, they're like very young people, like, you could find like 8-year-olds there. From the age was like a huge age range, like very small kids, lots of teenagers, some 20s and maybe a few in their 30s. So they were all making noise, chanting, trying to motivate themselves and everything. I saw a few soldiers. The soldiers that I could see were very few at that point. I think, I don't know, like most of them had already gone to fight them. So they were chanting. Then for a long while, so after I asked them, I now went back. We now gathered at the gate of our compound. So we're now watching them, and then they were, like, they had lots of, like they carried a school bus, and then they climbed on top of it, all over it, and they were driving around in circles, shouting and scraping their weapons on the floor, trying to motivate themselves. Yeah.
And all this whole time that this is happening, the gunshots are still going on. Yeah, we're hearing gunshots, the bombs,
but they were a little bit
exploding.
Yeah, but they were a little bit like far away.
Okay.
Not, we could hear them, but they were not as close as they were when it first started out. And then,
what was the timeline of this? So from when you woke up and you heard gunshots to the task force and them trying to motivate people, how long was this?
Like within an hour, or probably less. Yeah.
Okay.
So, so I and my friends were really brave, and it helps when you're around people like that, so you don't lose your head. So we're out there, we're just trying to talk about normal stuff. So yeah, meanwhile we're getting calls at the same time. So we're hearing calls like they were like they were inside school, like they were inside the school. we had that a bullet hit somebody, a stray bullet hit somebody in her room in the hostel, and we're just wondering how the odds of that were just so slim. Wondering how that happened. So we're just hearing lots of things, but then some people were telling us that no, they are not inside school. We're hearing lots of conflicting stories. So I called my friend. I usually stay in his house. I usually sleep there. It's very strange I didn't even sleep there that night. That's like 1 out of 20 times I didn't sleep there. So he was asking me how are things and everything. I told him like, we're fine. We're just out here. And I asked him how things were. He was like, well, he doesn't really know. Like things are okay, but things are like stuff is happening in school, the shots and everything. So
Stephen, I want to get what's your emotional state when this is happening? Because I think it's easy to hear you're telling the story and you're just telling it freely as though it's not a big deal. But what was going through your mind? Were you thinking about your family? Were you thinking about am I gonna die? What were your fears?
Okay, I actually gave thought to dying. I called a friend and she was like, she's gonna call me back. I was like, dude, there might not be a call me back. But the thing is, I was really at peace. And like, let me just relate this to the Bible. Like when Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego in the Bible, they were going to be thrown into the flaming fire for not bowing down to a king, for not worshiping a king. They said that their God will save them. They know their God will save them. And even if he doesn't save them, they will still rather be thrown in the fire. That's the state of mind I was in. I was like, hey, God is all powerful and I'm his son, he loves me, so nothing's going to happen to me. But even if something's going to happen to me, it's not because it's beyond him. So I was like really cool with it. And then unfortunately for me, my mom lives in the same city as me. So I was thinking about her. So I just prayed for her and then I just sent her a text message just like, Mom, just be cool. Nothing's going to happen. Like, you're going to be all right. And then she texted me back that, okay, we're fine, don't worry. Just be safe. Because I couldn't get to her through calls. So I just sent her the message. And then everybody else is outside the States. My brothers, my dad, most of my friends were inside school. And I thought school was like the safest place. My other friend is in like the teaching hospital. She's a medical student. So that place is very safe too. So I was not really worried because the people I really cared about the most, they were either in safer places or they were right there with me. So my mind was like a little bit, it was very much at rest. Yes.
You mentioned at the beginning of your story that you heard gunshots and then you were like, oh, okay, and then you went back, you tried to go back to sleep.
Yeah.
Is it normal for you to hear gunshots that you could, because if I hear gunshots, I'm not going to, I don't think I would go back to sleep.
It's very normal.
Okay.
It's very normal.
So you weren't worried when that happened?
No, I was not worried at all. I did not even think about it.
Okay.
Right.
So how long did the whole, you know, you've talked about how you heard different stories of stray bullets and all these things. When did all the shooting and the bomb explosions, when did it end? How long did it take for all that to end?
It took like between 12 o'clock and 1 p.m.
Okay.
Yeah.
So how many hours was the whole incident in total?
About 5-6 hours.
5 or 6 hours.
Yes.
Right. Wow.
Yeah.
Gosh.
Wow.
So how do you feel now?
I think I'm okay. I think like I believe that God is in control. So no matter what happens, like faith helps a lot. That's the thing. Faith helps a lot. If I didn't have faith, I think I'm basically I'm not the worrying type. When things happen, I don't react. I tend to analyze and then I react. Okay. But even with that, I was like when I woke up and when everyone was panicking, I was scared at first. Yeah. But after I prayed and everything, I don't know. So even right now when I go back, I think it's the same thing. I think if this still happen and I'm outside in the middle of it all, I'll just lie down and pray and keep my head.
Sorry, Stephen, I have to ask you, you know, there's so many different places to live. Why do you choose to go back to a place where this could happen again?
Well, for me, I'm a student there, and I've been a student there for 5 years, and I'm in my final year. Okay. I'm meant to finish by October. So getting out at this point in time is kind of like I'll have to start from...
You'll feel you've wasted...
Yeah, I've wasted a lot. If I'm going to go to another university and I'll transfer, most likely I'll start from my second year and everything. So, like, hey, since we've come this far, it didn't start today. It started since like 2009, even though it was not this bad. Yeah, so, I mean, I believe I can reach October and everything will be fine.
And we pray you reach October as well.
And we're so glad that you're here and you're alive to tell your story. Thank you for coming.
Thank you so much. Thanks, Stephen. We met up with someone who was a victim of terrorism but began to fight back.
So they passed. They got on that street, and the Igbo people couldn't take it. They were like, "What's the meaning of this? What's the meaning of this?" So they said, "What's the meaning of this? Okay, we will show you."
Dedicated to people, technology, service. Zenith Bank, in your best interest.
We are now joined by Bobby High, and he's going to share with us his story. Bobby, how are you doing?
I'm fine.
Welcome.
Welcome.
Thank you.
So, tell us your first experience of terror.
First experience of terror. That would be 7th of September 2001.
Okay.
Yeah. So that was like 4 days. 4 days before the attack, the World Trade Center attack.
9/11.
9/11. Yeah. I was in the studio in Tafa Street, Jos Plateau State, recording, doing an album for a women's fellowship. So in the middle of the session, we heard some crazy sounds like from outside, like someone was throwing stuff on the building. You know, it was a sound recording, so we had like sound. So we had to stop. I ran out downstairs, and I saw a group of youths. They were like chanting. It was something else. So they were just throwing stuff. They were carrying funny, things I hadn't seen before. So I ran in, went upstairs. Stood there and saw them. So I saw them pass. They were like, they are saying things I can't really say here.
And they didn't see you.
No, they saw me. They saw me. They didn't really kill people on that street.
Okay.
And that was like an intro. You understand?
Okay. Just the start
like
of the
saying,
conflict.
like saying we are going to do it. Guys, get ready, like a warning.
Okay.
It was so strange. They were like, what is this? I said, what is this? So you have not heard of this? No, not like this. Not like this. These people, they are serious now. You understand? So they went, when they passed through the street and they went to the next street, that was, I think it's called Zaria Terrace or so. So on that street, we had a good number of Igbo people, doing their businesses there. So they passed. They got on that street, and the Igbo people couldn't take it. They were like, "What's the meaning of this? What's the meaning of this?" So they said, "What's the meaning of this? Okay, we will show you." So
they started attacking them right there.
They didn't realize they broke their car glasses and windshields and stuff. So, but at that point, the thing was clear. So, these guys are not just doing. This is not like warning though. These guys can take it to the next level. On our way to my grandparents' place, we saw dead bodies, burnt houses.
Dedicated to people, technology, service. Zenith Bank, in your best interest.
Okay, all that stuff happened, and then you said you were at the top of the building when you looked down.
Yeah, I looked down. Yeah, I saw them. They passed.
Okay, so they passed, and then what happened?
And I went to my grandpa's place.
Okay.
Not too far from Tafa, so John Tadamo. I see Grandpa. He was a politician. He's dead. Rest in peace. So I said, these people are crazy. They came to our area and they did this, they did that. He said, well, we'll pray. We pray. We should go on our knees and pray, because these people at this plateau is not used to things like this. This like the first time we'll be experiencing this, but we believe nothing will happen. We pray God will take control, and nobody cared about, I mean, self-protection, maybe getting things or getting ready for, I mean, they were not ready for it. They believe it won't happen. So I was like, these guys, they did this thing in Kafanchan, that's Kaduna, Southern Kaduna. They did it in Kagoro, that's how they started. They did it in Kaduna. And they will do the same in this place. They said, no, 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 how many are they? How many are they? The guys in Just North, that's where you have Hausas, Igbos, Yorubas, you understand? But the Hausas were or are occupying the center of the city, like the core. So we went to sleep. And at night, I mean, I couldn't sleep. I woke up, I was like, let me check. I'm going Rukuba. The Rukuba Road area was like up, like, it was like, the Genta was like in the valley. Then my place was like up there. So I woke up and I looked down. Just checked the area. And I saw like flashes of light, like pockets of like flames here and there, and I was like, I went and woke my friend up. He came home with me. I mean, I met him in the other, Genta, and he was like, let me just follow you to your place. So I woke him up. I said, guy, wake up, oh. These people, it's on. So he came out and looked. He said, yes, flame, fire. So we couldn't move because that was like at that time, that was like 3 a.m. 3 a.m. Yeah. So we couldn't move. I mean, we waited till like 4:30 and we went out. Wow. On our way to my grandparents' place, we saw dead bodies, burnt houses. On my way, I saw a dead body. We were taking one dead body to the cemetery. And I noticed the guy's head was not there. Wow. Yeah, so I was like, who is that? They said, that's Uncle Samson. I said, come, which Samson? They said, that comedian, that street comedian. I said, come on, Samson. Who will kill Samson? That one will just go look for booze, drink, come and do comedy for you. He was like our main guy. So they killed him. I mean, but it doesn't feel good now. You know, no matter what. I mean, this is. I mean, we are human beings now. I mean, I can't give life. So,
well, Bobby, thank you so much for sharing your story. Unfortunately, we've run out of time, and maybe off camera you can tell us because you seem to have a lot more.
I have more.
You know, but Bobby, honestly, thank you so much.
Thank you.
All right.
Thank you.
Back to the studio.
They were already throwing stones and sticks into the station. It was already eating us. So we felt, okay, let us call our parents, let us call our people at home, let them know what's happening, just in case we don't get back to them.
Dedicated to people, technology, service. Zenith Bank, in your best interest.
Welcome back. For Wumi Adini, our next guest, killings by terrorists are not a story. She had to run for her own life.
Wumi, welcome to Moments with Mo.
Yeah, thank you very much.
How are you doing today?
Very well.
Fantastic.
So please tell us what happened. Tell us your story.
Okay. It happened on April 18, 2011, during my NYC here. It was on a Monday morning, just after the conclusion of the 2011 elections. So, on that Monday morning, the presidential election result was announced. You know, good luck, President Goodluck was announced to be the winner. And that morning, I said then gathered local government of Bauchi State. So we got some calls from other copper friends in other local governments that they were attacking coppers, going to their lodges to kill them and all that. Why? I said because coppers were the ones that conducted the election. Okay. So one of my friends then, Tosin Said, he was my classmate in the university. So we're serving together in the same local government. He was staying like 2 rooms away from my room then. Then he just came to my room, Wumi, please come and assist me to cook beans. You know, guy stuff, he doesn't know how to cook. So I was just helping him out with the beans. And before we knew it, some police officers came to my lodge, because then the lodge I was staying, we had more police officers staying with us. So they just came, coppers, run to the station. They are here. So, you know, we quickly ran to our various rooms. I ran to my room. I was like, what can I pick? And I just carried my endurance strike bag, a very small bag. I had my purse, my ATM in there. So we just ran to the station. The station was just directly opposite our lodge. We ran there. We tried to contact our other corps members in other lodges that they should come to the police station. They said the mobs were around and all that. So while we were in there, we're just waiting to see what would happen. And like 20 minutes after, we saw some mobs approaching us. They were like 300 in number, with machetes, heavy woods, and all that. Me seeing these people alone, it was enough to be killed. You get it was enough for you to die. But we're just trying to summon courage, trying to pray. So when they got to the front of the station, they spoke to the police officers to chase coppers out and strangers. But of course, the police officers were trying to defend us. So they shooting tear gas canisters to chase the mobs away. Then all of a sudden, we discovered that there was no more shooting. We're like, what's happened? They said they ran out of ammunition. That's the police.
Wow.
And we're like, you ran out of ammunition. Why not just call for aids in other local governments, even if it's the state capital, even if it's from Abuja? In 5 minutes' time, helicopter will get here, and if these people should just see them, they'll be away. But they said there was nothing they could do, that they had called other local governments, they had done the best they could do. They said there was no more ammunition for them. So we're like, okay. And the way it was going, at that point in time, because of the tear gas, canisters and all that, everywhere was already smoky. In fact, if we had any asthmatic patients there, the person would have just died. We're just trying to endure. You know, we could not even see one another again. Then at that point, they were already throwing stones and sticks into the station. It was already eating us. So we felt, okay, let us call our parents, let us call our people at home, let them know what was happening, just in case we don't get back to them. Because at that point, we knew this one was already getting out of hand. And we were already saying our last prayers, trying to tell God, please take control. And if it happens that I die, let me make heaven. Okay. Then before we knew it, one of my co-members just said, it's like they are setting the children ablaze. And before we knew it, we just saw fire. All the rooms we hid in were already catching fire.
And at this point, where were the police? Had they abandoned the station, or were they still there?
No, they were still there with us. They were right in there with us. So the rooms we were hiding, they were already catching fire. So we just had to run out of the room, where we struggled ourselves at the corridor. Nobody wanted to run out.
Yeah, because they were outside.
But the fire was engulfing the station.
Yeah, it was already engulfing the station. Then
how many people were at the station at this point?
We're like,
how many coppers were there?
No, coppers. The coppers in the station, were not up to 100.
Okay, and the police?
Everybody was not up to 100.
Okay, so in total, not up to, just about 100 people.
Just maybe. About 100 people.
Okay.
So when we discovered that the fire was getting so much, then at the time we just saw the roof burning down.
Wow.
And at that point, you know, everything was already smoky. We could not even see one another. We had to be calling ourselves by names. Wumi, where are you? At that point, we had wept, called our people at home. Then I didn't want to call them at home initially, but then when I saw that this thing was getting out of hand, and I knew, obviously, I might not go back home.
Get out of this. So who did you call?
I called my dad. I spoke with my dad. I called my mom. She didn't pick up her phone. Oh, sorry, I didn't get through to her.
Okay.
So it was my dad I was able to get through to. I spoke with him. While I was speaking with him on the phone, I was crying. And he could even hear people crying, and you know. So I just told him that, Dad, this is what is happening. Just do one thing for me. Just help me pray to God that in case I die, I should make heaven.
And what did he?
You know, his voice was shaking on the phone. He couldn't cry.
Wow.
He was just trying to console me. Oh, mommy, you know that. I said, Daddy, this is not a matter of mommy, you know that. This is obviously close to death. Just help me tell God that in case I die, I should make heaven. And it was like, okay, let me call you back. I'm running out of airtime that I want to recharge my phone. And, you know, just 2 minutes after then, everything was out of hand. Then somebody had to declare, coppers, everybody run for their lives. And we just started trooping out of the station.
So everyone started running out?
Everyone started running out. And, you know, while we were running, we ran into their hands. They were chasing us all over the places.
Just go back. You run out, and the first thing you see is the attackers. They're outside.
Yeah, they were already waiting for us outside.
Okay.
So while we were running, they were chasing us. They were everywhere. They were every hand we ran to, they were there. So as we were running, they were chasing us, eating us with sticks, stones, machetes. While I was running, I was before the mobs came around, some of my friends, they quickly ran to the lodge back to carry laptops and all that. So they brought my laptop for me. I was carrying my laptop in my back. So that was still safe in my back. It was just my hands, my leg, that the sticks and all that were hitting while I was running. So, you know, I was already getting tired. You know, all my arms, my body were already getting swollen. I didn't want to fall because I knew if I should drop to the ground, that would be the end.
That was it.
Yeah. So while I was running, one of the mobs used a machete or something to draw one of the arms of my laptop back. So I had to release the whole arm that this laptop should just go, let me just survive. So the stone sticks, everything was eating my back. Then all of a sudden, from behind, I don't know, a machete just dropped on my head. And, you know, at that point I was very weak. I was just struggling to run, to survive. So I just dropped to the ground, and as I dropped to the ground, I just looked back. I saw the guy, I saw blood dripping from my head. I was like, Dohala. Dohala means, please, for God's sake. You know, I was trying to beg the guy, please. And, you know, as I dropped to the ground, the guy was just shouting, Nama, Nama. And that attracted other mobs. They sounded me, and they kept eating me.
What does Nama mean?
Nama means meat.
It means what?
Meat.
Meat.
Yeah.
Okay.
So they kept eating me, and another one came again from I don't know. Just
Wumi, I'm really sorry to stop you right there, but we're going to hear more of the story after the break. So just bear with us. We'll be right back after this. And I'm sure your family are so thankful. You know, no one should have to endure what you went through or have to face anything like that.
Dedicated to people, technology, service. Zenith Bank, in your best interest.
Welcome back, and Wumi is still here sharing her story. So Wumi, before the break you mentioned that machete hit your head and you were on the floor, and then you turned around and you begged him and you said please, and carry on please.
So, you know, as I dropped to the ground, I begged him, please, Dohala, and he was shouting, Nama, Nama, and that attracted other mobs to me. And
how many were surrounded?
I can't even count. At the time, they could be like 10. You know, some would be running, they'll come, they want to eat. They will go again to look for another Nama. So they could be like 10, they could be like 15 on the presses. You know, I couldn't even count. And at that point, I was already weak, I was close to death.
Okay.
So they kept eating me. Another one came again, eat my arm, my right arm with a machete. I started bleeding, and you know, I was really, really close to death. And I just dropped to the ground. I was lying helplessly on the floor, and they kept eating me. I knew that obviously these people were ready to take the last breath out of me. Then at that point, I could not even. Initially I was trying to see if I could get up, to see if I could keep running, but the strength was no more there for me. So all that was running through my mind was, God, this is I'm going to die. Came for NYC to serve my father's land and all that. Then I was just, inside of me, I was just pleading for mercy that God, when I die, let me make heaven. And, you know, all of a sudden, I was just like, no, I'm not supposed to die like this. I'm not supposed to die now. Yeah. And like praying inside of me, I was reciting Psalm 23, the Lord is my shepherd. Then as I saw my blood gushing out, I was bleeding seriously. Then I was bleeding the blood of Jesus and all that. And all of a sudden, two guys, Hausa guys, they were running. I saw them running from, I can't remember where they were running from. So they forced themselves to enter the center they placed me. Then they were pleading on my behalf. I could hear them pleading. They were speaking Hausa to the other mobs. Please, they were saying, it's okay, this girl is almost dead. But the mobs were locked and they were chasing them away. Then at the time, the two guys they were trying to shield me. They were like, okay, they should kill them. So they were eating them. And when they saw that they were eating them, they had to lift me up from the ground. Then they were carrying me away. And fortunately for me, they bought a motorbike. But they parked it by the roadside, and it's quite a distance from the roadside to where the incident was happening. But they just struggled to get to the roadside, and they placed me on the bike and sped off. And that was how I was able to escape.
Do you know if anyone else has escaped?
Yeah.
So they were...
What about your other friends?
Yeah, I had some other Cooper friends that escaped.
And did any of them pass away?
Yeah, that day 7 of my friends were killed.
Wow.
In the local government alone.
I'm absolutely speechless. I can't even begin to imagine or think how you felt. Do you look back now and wonder how come you're still here with us today?
Oh yeah, because I know it's not as if I'm better than those that were killed. I'm not better. In fact, I didn't even know I was going to come back from my life.
It's okay. It's okay.
They want to remember this, please.
We're just so happy that you're alive, and I don't know. I don't know why things happen.
Wumi, we just thank God that you're here with us today, and I'm sure your family are so thankful. You know, no one should have to endure what you went through or have to face anything like that, you know?
And we're thankful that you're sharing your story with us. Thank you so much for being willing to tell us what has happened to you. Like Dr. said, I think we pray that everything goes well for you.
We know this is really, really emotional. And once again, we cannot thank you enough for coming here to share your story, because we know it is also getting you to relive it. But let's look at the good side. You're here with us. What was it like when your parents realized that you were okay?
They didn't even believe I was alive. You know, then I lost all. I lost my phones. There was no way I could communicate with them. So when I got to the hospital later in the evening, I had to use a friend's phone to call my dad. So that was how I was able to get in touch with them. And you know, after we were still in Bauchi State for like 5 days after the incident. So back at home, they were telling me to please get somebody that has a BlackBerry. That the person just snapped me. They wanted to see how I was looking. So I was forced to get a friend to snap me, and I sent the picture to them, and that was when they were satisfied that
that you're
okay. And what about your outlook? What's your outlook on life now? How do you live your life every day?
Every day, I live my life I live my life like that moment might be the last time for me. Ever since that April 18, 2011, I've learned to live life like that particular moment might be the last. I might not be able to see the next moment again, because I've learned that it's just a second between death and life. The person you're seeing now, you might not see the person again in the next few minutes.
Very true.
And that is life.
Yes, Wumi, thank you very much. This has been a very emotional episode, and we thank you for staying with us.
Yes, thank you very much. And on a final note, we'd like to plead with you and everyone watching to please, please, please let us try and abstain from acts of terrorism. Let us make Nigeria a safer country for all of us.
Thanks once again, and we'll see you next time for more Moments with Mo. Stay safe.
Moments with Mo was brought to you by Zenith Bank and GE.